जलते हैं जिसके लिए तेरी आंखों के दिए
As his grandniece, she has brought in exclusive insights into his personal and professional life that will be a delight for music fans and film scholars alike. Senat is also his grandniece, and she has a special feeling for him. So we have many anecdotes about her childhood with her interaction with Kalan, right?
I'm a journalist by profession, and we always think of the perfect timing. So 2 years ago in 2022, I realized that this year in 2024 is going to be his birth centenary. उनकी जन्म शताब्दी होगी, और ये बहुत ज़रूरी था that we celebrate and mark his birth centenary by revisiting not just his music legacy. Of course, a lot of people are still listening to his songs, but more important to revisit the iconic journey that he had in his life, both professional and personal, and to dig into family history, to dig into film history, and to revisit all the pioneering steps that he took in his life, because this is a time which was, I mean, his birth was British India, so we come from a very cultural yet conservative Muslim Lucknow family. And his birth was in 1924, and when he was born in his house, he was surrounded by music, mausiqi, shairi, mushaira, baithak, ye sab ghar mein hoti thi. His family were huge patrons of art, where musicians, singers, artists, poets were invited to perform for the evening, only for family benefits. But the engagement in arts was only to the extent of being a patron, not allowed or not looked highly upon if you entered as a commercial artist, you know. So he had to take that step in having this argument with his father and walking out of home and saying that I will pursue the arts as a professional and commercially engage with it as well. So that was breaking grounds. And in today's time, of course, it doesn't seem like a big thing. It's a very common thing to do, but at that time it was a big step. His personal life and how he decided to marry, whom he decided to marry, and also his professional decisions. He was the first singer from India to start world tours, and that was in 1956. It was the peak of his filmy career. 1956, matlab, he was the #1 music singer. Before the rise of Mohammad Rafi Saab, before that he was the #1 music singer. And an actor in demand, which I'm sure we'll touch upon later. So he started world tours, and looking at him, his friends and colleagues, Lata Devi, Mukesh ji, started world tours. And he had the first role to play in the royalty battle. The royalty rights for singers is a lot that is spoken about today, and which has reached this point where they are getting royalty, and it's spilled over to lyricists getting royalty as well. But he was the first in the music industry in the 1960s. To start that protest and have that mic down protest where recording was stopped for 3 months in the film industry. So a lot of these stories I felt very strongly about that had to be retold in the centenary year.
You were talking about him being determined to pursue
completing education, some basic education. So he did his bachelor's, but he did it in music. He did it at the Bharatmande Vishwavidyalaya in Lucknow, which is still the premier institute for music and performing arts. And so he shifted. He had to not just walk out of house, he had to walk out of town as well. He had to move to Calcutta, because at that time the music industry and the entertainment showbiz industry was based in Calcutta. This is early 1940s, which is again British India. So it was bold in a lot of ways, yeah.
And his whole visit to Calcutta is overwhelming. The fact that he went to Calcutta, he had to change his name to talk of and sing Bengali songs the way he did. His whole love for the city, it's fascinating in your book, because I'm from Calcutta. For me, Calcutta is the most enduring, beautiful chapter.
He was also away from home and not really with the encouragement of his father, so he thought maybe. But this is a suggestion that came from Pankaj Malik. Pankaj Malik, if you know, was the doyen of the Calcutta film industry, and you know, like we have the Yashraj banner, or we have Karan Johar's banner today. Pankaj Malik was one of the part owners and board members of the New Theatres. New Theatres एक ऐसी production house था, फिर production house जिसके KL Sehgal गाते थे और करण देवी गाती थी और सब acting New Theatres production के ही करते थे. So he was picked up. It's interesting how his journey to Calcutta started, because in Bhatpande University, even at that time in the early 1940s, big music labels, or उस time पे तो HMV था बस. So HMV would come for campus recruitment. Now campus recruitment is a term that we are very familiar with these days in the marketing world, in the marketing and corporate world. But HMV used to do campus recruitment of artists at the Bhatpande University, and they were visiting, and they found out that he's the most talented singer of his batch, and they called him to Calcutta to record. And in that recording, Pankaj Malik was sitting in the studio. So this was an HMV recording, and Pankaj Malik was just sitting and waiting in the studio for New Theatres recording. But he said, Talat, your voice is great and you've arrived, and just start singing. Why do you need to complete your education? But he was
Dad said, yes, I have to finish.
He said, oh my God, my dad's going to be mad, I have to finish my education and go back. So he asked Pankaj Malik to wait 2 years. So that he goes back to Lucknow, finishes his bachelor's degree in Bhatpande University, and then go back and record for New Theatres. And then that's when Pankaj Malik said कि तुम्हारी ग़ज़लें तो बहुत हिट हो गई हैं यहाँ पे. And और ग़ज़ल वो तलत महमूद के नाम गाते थे, because that was his core. I mean, he has a very big Bengali career and film golden era career, but king of ग़ज़ल was his absolute core. तो पंकज मलिक साहब said कि तुम बंगाली गाना भी गाओ और बंगाली सीखो. So he had to learn the language. He said जब भी तुम बंगाली गाओ तुम तपन कुमार के नाम गाओ.
That should be owned by him.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure even Rashmi ji can add to this. So what KL Sehgal means to singers?
KL Sehgal is the epitome of ghazal singing back in those days.
British India.
Yeah. And I think Talat Mahmood was a great fan of his, and he followed his
Absolutely. Yeah. So in that day, KL Sehgal was this icon which Lata Mangeshkar was a huge fan of, Mohammad Rafi was a huge fan of, and Talat Mahmood was a huge fan as well. And everyone wanted to sing like KL Sehgal. So you can imagine what it meant to him to be in that studio and watch KL Sehgal singing live. So he uses this very beautiful term in Urdu. Talat Mahmood says, and I've said this in the book as well, that entire encounter that he had with him in the studio. He says, "Noor ki barish." जब मैंने उनको सुना तो मेरी रूह पे नूर की बारिश हुई. I don't think anyone can add anything.
I think I'll sing Ye Hamari Raat Hai Chandni.
Very difficult to say.
Let's leave it for Jashn Talat when I have all the musicians. Today I'm handicapped. Ye Hamari Raat ये चांदनी तेरी एक अदा पे निसार है ये हवा ये रात. I think all of you sing, it will be more fun.
Everybody, put up, come on.
ये हवा ये रात ये चांदनी तेरी एक अदा पे निसार है. मुझे क्यों न हो तेरी आरज़ू तेरी जुस्तजू में बहार है. ये हवा ये रात ये चांदनी तुझे क्या खबर है ओ बेखबर. तुझे
क्या खबर है ओ बेखबर, तेरी एक नजर में है क्या असर, ये हवा ये रात ये चांद, ये हवा ये रात ये चांद। Their personalities were suited. They were both similarly artistically inclined in terms of literature, in terms of poetry, and they both had a soft voice. So a lot of people felt that this is Dilip Kumar himself singing. And I always quote our filmmaker Muzaffar Ali Saab now because he said the best thing. So I just keep quoting him again and again. And he says, "There you're going to get me in trouble someday." But when we did our launch in Lucknow for the book, the paperback version, so Muzaffar Ali Saab said that हम लोग हमेशा दिलीप कुमार की ट्रेजेडी की फेज का जब भी बात करते हैं तो ऐसे बोलते हैं कि बिल्कुल उनको अमर कर गए और जबरदस्त उनका एक्टिंग करियर था वो is all skills of acting included just in that tragedy king phase. But he turned it around and he said कि तलत महमूद की आवाज ऐसी थी कि वो दिलीप कुमार को अमर कर गया। I think Shamil Hum, because it was experimental at that time, and if any of you can recall Shamil Hum, Shamil Hum की कसम आज मंगी है हम, आप भी जा
Everybody is evening. Everybody is evening.
So even while we're humming it, one notices how soft the melody is. And as the music composer, legendary Khayyam Saab, who talks about the music, and this is also a story which is mentioned in my book, where he says that they didn't use any percussions. And at that time it was very rare, because Indian music was also very traditional at that time. But in Shamil Hum ki Qasam, they didn't use any percussions. They created a rhythm out of the violins and other different pieces of orchestra. I think that's how it's very soft as well.
Lovely combination of it.
Yes, and beautiful composition, cinematography of the curtains blowing from moonlight. And the conflict zone, you know, I mean, we're talking about Bangladesh now and how it's, I don't know, I won't make a statement on what's happening now there. But in 1971, when the Indian Army fought for the liberation of Bangladesh, and it was a conflict zone at that time. So he went there just a few months after liberation. Yes, and to perform for the army there in the conflict zone, just a few months after liberation, where they've seen genocide, they've seen rapes and suicides. So he was there to sing and cheer them up there. And because it was Bangladesh, he also sang a lot of his Bengali songs. So that's how he used his art for therapy as well. Yeah.
Jalde Hain Kiske Liye, that's one of his favorite instruments.
जलते हैं जिसके लिए तेरी आँखों के दिए ढूंढ लाया हूँ वही गीत मैं तेरे लिए, जलते हैं जिसके लिए गुनगुनाऊंगा यही गीत मैं तेरे लिए, जलते हैं जिसके लिए तेरी आँखों के दिए ढूंढ लाया हूँ वही गीत मैं तेरे लिए, जलते हैं जिसके लिए। So when the song was finally recorded and when the tape was finally over, the lyricist Majrooh Sultanpuri Saab, he said, "Wah Talat, kya gaya hai?" So Talat just turned around and said, "Wow, sahab, kya likha hai?" So that was the artistic appreciation that the greats at that time had for each other.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's pure perfection, and that's how it has really stood the test of time, stood the test of decades.
And thereafter, even Jagjit and Jagjit Singh as well as Mehdi Hasan really admired him, and between all three, they became a cult in Ghazal.
Yes, in fact, Jagjit Singh Saab and Mehdi Hasan Saab entered Ghazals and thought of becoming Ghazal singers only because of him. Yeah. You can be at your peak, and in the next month, the next moment, you can be completely down the pits, you know. So similarly, Mukesh ji was having a difficult time at that period of time. So Talat Nana had a meeting with Dilip Kumar Saab and Bimal Roy Saab, the filmmaker, and he said that Mukesh मेरा बहुत करीब दोस्त है और मुझे पता है कि अभी उनके घर में उनकी माली हालत मॉनेटरी स्टेटस बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, टू द एक्सटेंट के बच्चों की फीस भी नहीं जा रही है। तो एक गाने से तो कुछ नहीं होगा मुकेश का, आप ये पूरा फिल्म का एल्बम मुकेश को दे दीजिए। So that's how Madhumati became Mukesh's film. And he never spoke about it in public. I mean, this was a personal gesture towards a friend. And we knew it as a family history, as a family story, we knew it at home, and no one ever spoke about it in public. So I was wondering whether I should put this in the book or not. But coincidentally, in the course of my research, Madhumati marked 50 years. They had their golden jubilee. The film had its golden jubilee, I think 4 or 5 years ago. And the filmmaker, Bimal Roy's daughter, she wrote a book on 50 years of Madhumati. And she wrote this incident in her book. So I said, okay, now I'm allowed to participate.
But Talat was seamless when he went from Urdu, Bengali, Hindi. I mean, because he's so gifted with languages. He didn't seem as though he was making such an effort moving from one language to the other.
Well, he sang in 16 languages.
16.
He sang in Gujarati, he sang in Marathi. He won the Maharashtra Government Award for the Marathi Singer of the Year. Bengali, of course, he had a complete career as Talat Kumar. And he sang in Gujarati, he sang in Assamese for Bhupen Hazarika. He sang in Awadhi. I don't know. In fact, I would like to also understand this from an artist, like Rashmiji. What is the challenge of a language? Because it's also not just understanding a pronunciation; it's understanding the colloquial nuances, the emotions. What could be the challenge for a singer to do that?
You have to understand the language, the meaning, and then you have to perfect your diction. It should not go wrong. Like for my ghazals, I have learned the Urdu language. You have to learn. But it is लहजा वो जरूर पक्का होना चाहिए. And Talat Mahmood perfected each, managed to perfect each of the languages.
There's an incident in the book, and I'm very fortunate. I got to speak to the singer as well in Telugu. Telugu is considered one of our most difficult languages in India. And हमारी एक बहुत दिग्गज singer है Miss P. Sushila. She's known as the Nightingale, the Lata Mangeshkar of South India, because she's the topmost in Telugu. So she's about 92, 93 years old right now. And I'm so lucky that I had a chance to speak with her. And her entire experience is part of that book, in a whole chapter on Telugu, Talat in Telugu, who did his tour in 1956. And he's also 93 years old right now. He lives in Bandra in Mumbai. And what a memory, he just gave me all the exclusive insights, which makes this book so delicious. So, I mean, he just explained how the tour was organized and how, everyone's passport and visas and had to be fixed, and all the other team members of the orchestra went by ship. And this was a tour to East Africa. ईस्ट अफ्रीका के उस टाइम कलेक्टिव नेशंस थे 1956 में, because they were still part of British. So you had Tanzania, Nigeria, which were part of East Africa.
Full of Indians.
Full of Indians. So it was a huge demand. So Nandi Durga, who was the concert manager, he said कि मैंने सोचा कि एक जगह है टैप करने के लिए, and Talat was the only singer who was ready for this experiment. So they got everyone's tour and travel organized. Talat was the only one who flew by air because he had no time. He had his recordings booked and he had his film shoots. He was acting also at that time. This is 1956, and he started acting as a hero on screen and film. So he just had his entire calendar chock-a-block. So he could only fly in and fly out, and the others were arranged to, go by ship. Yeah.
But it was very expensive.
It was, and it took a long time for them to travel and reach, and they were booked, I think, for, I forget the exact number, it's in the book, they were booked for, I think, 13, 15 shows, and back to back, they ended up squeezing 30 shows, because it was so much in demand, and he was, this is one particular incident that...
in the south.
Yes, in Tanzania.
And then when
he was taking the train to Dar es Salaam. He had to perform in Dar es Salaam. It was stopped. Yeah. So that train was stopped at another city midway. So they were like, God, are these gundas, goons who stopped our train? What has happened? They stopped and they exactly knew in which compartment Talat was sitting in, and they told Bombay Nana, they told Talat Nana कि हम लोग बहुत नाराज हैं कि आपका कॉन्सर्ट हमारे शहर में हो रहा है और आप I mean imagine, yeah, it's like how is it that you're touring all over the place and this is coming mid-route and en route and you're still not stopping to perform. So he said, ठीक है मैं माजरत चाहता हूँ, माफ करिए मगर मुझे दार इस सलाम पहुँचना है क्योंकि शो का टाइम है वहाँ पे. He said नहीं, हम लोग अपनी गाड़ी से आपको भेज देंगे मगर आप यहाँ रुक के आज परफॉर्म करिए. And he's sitting at the Joe Franklin show. Joe Franklin show is like you have the Jay Leno show, or who are the other guys nowadays? You have the Tonight Show and NBC channel.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yes, the Jimmy Fallon show. So the Joe Franklin show in the 1960s was like the Jimmy Fallon, and he was invited for the Joe Franklin show to talk about his Urdu ghazals. So they're playing his Urdu ghazals to an all-American audience, and he's talking to them about his life in India.
Yeah, because they say it doesn't matter what he's saying, it's actually how he's saying it. And the other very popular one is Firwayi Shah. And after you told us what's behind it, we'll get Rashmi to sing it. Is that right? Thanks a lot.
In fact, let's hear Firwayi Shah again.
You tell the story first, or I'll say
Tell the story, then we'll
tell the story.
Okay. So yes, because we mentioned Madan Mohan Saab and legendary music composer, and his favorite singer was Talat Mahmood. So this song is from the film Jahar of 1964, and when this was also a time when, of course, when the rise of Mohammad Rafi Saab had already happened, and everyone just across the board wanted Mohammad Rafi for all songs, whatever it may be. So Madan Mohan composed the music of this film, keeping Talat Mahmood's voice in mind. And the producer of the film said that no, we want to change this voice. So Madan Mohan said that I will leave the film, or I will pay for all the recordings. If you don't agree, I will pay for all the recordings. And if you still don't agree, I will leave the film. I won't compose for the film if you don't take Talat. So it's just a tribute to that partnership and that faith that they had in each other. And it's one of my favorite ghazals as well. And Rashmi sings it beautifully. She sung it for our Jashn Talat platform as well. So enjoy.
दिल को समझाने तेरी याद चली आई है, फिर वही शाम वही तन्हाई है, दिल को समझाने तेरी याद चली आई है, फिर वही शाम, फिर तस्वीर तेरे पहलुओं में बिठा जाएगा, मेरी मंजिल तेरी मंजिल से बिछड़ आई है, फिर वही शाम, वही गम, वही तन्हाई है, दिल को समझाने तेरी याद चली आई है, फिर वही शाम, वही गम, वही तन्हाई है। तस्वीर बनाता हूँ, तस्वीर नहीं बनती, तस्वीर नहीं बनती, एक ख्वाब सा देखा है, ताबीर नहीं बनती, तस्वीर नहीं बनती, बेदर्द मोहब्बत का इतना सा है अफसाना, अब दिल के बहलने की ताबीर नहीं बनती, तस्वीर नहीं बनती, तस्वीर बनाता हूँ, तस्वीर नहीं बनती, तस्वीर नहीं बनती। कोई रो दिया, फिर के मुँह कोई चल दिया, फिर के मुँह कोई चल दिया, रहा था किसी का जहाँ, देखती रह गई धनी, चुप रहा बेरहम आसमां, है मेरे दिल कहीं और चल।
Thank you so much. Please, one promise, either buy the book or go back home and listen to Taran Hari.